Going on, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I wanted to talk about something, and well, that's my fragrance of the day. Oud wood. Yeah, we're going with oud wood today. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because not only just a thank you to everybody who's subscribing and who tunes into my channel, but I think there's some clarity that needs to be done because I get a lot of people and they come to me about mortgage audits. And then I just put my hand on my face like, oh, brother, here we go. So here's the problem with doing things that people just tell you to do, and you don't understand what to use a mortgage audit for. Before you seek any mortgage audit, or if you seek any audit, you need to know how to use it in a trial. So if you don't know how to use it in a trial, then what are you getting it for? You're just getting a bunch of documents. You don't know how to get a witness. You don't know how to get the testimony in. You don't know how to get the evidence into the court to where you can actually argue the audit. So we're going to start with basics. Okay. The basics is always what's going to assist you throughout any legal proceeding or process. Stick to the basics. They will not fail you. Okay. Now, we're going to get into what you would have to prove in regards to a mortgage audit, in regards to fraud. Okay. So, when you're dealing with fraud, you need to look at what are the elements of fraud? What do I have to prove to actually win a case? And what are the elements, the documents, or what are the documents and stuff that I'm going to need? Okay. So, you got to remember what type of fraud are you alleging? Are you alleging civil or are you alleging criminal? Okay. Now, these are the aspects that you have to understand of fraud. Fraud is both a civil tort and a criminal wrong. In litigation, allegations of fraud might be based in misrepresentation of the fact that was either intentional or negligent. Okay, so that means that if you're trying to prove fraud, you need to prove that somebody intentionally did it. You have to prove intent, or you have to prove that they were just negligent by their actions. Okay. For a statement to be an intentional misrepresentation, the person who made it must either have known the statement was false or been reckless as to its truth. So when you're sitting here saying that a lender committed fraud, you better make sure that that statement is backed by facts and proof. Okay. So if you understand that they violated TILA or they violated the Truth in Lending Act or etc., and you can actually show them where they violated it, they can either make the correction. Listen to what I'm telling you. They can either allow them to either make the correction or the agreement is no longer going forward due to misrepresentation. Now you have a letter of your intent and their negligence. Do you understand? Ooh, wee, that boy dropped the bar. All right. The speaker must have also intended that the person to whom the statement was made would rely on it. When a bank said that they would give you a loan and then they gave you a document showing the proceeds of that loan, but they didn't apply the proceeds of the loan to the account to settle the account, what did they do? The hearer must have reasonably relied on the promise. Weren't you promised to get a loan? Didn't they give you evidence of the proceeds? Did they show you any distribution of the proceeds? No. So that means that they're negligent. You have to make sure that they know, hey, you received an instrument valued at this amount. I'm authorizing you to credit it to the account. What instrument do you need for me to credit it to your account? Please let me know. You guys need to learn how to ask questions, okay? Promise. And also been harmed because of the reliance. A claim for fraud based on negligent misrepresentation differs in that the speaker of the false statement may have actually believed it to be true. However, the speaker lacked reasonable grounds for that belief. A promise that goes unfulfilled. Listen, the bar is coming, baby. A promise that goes unfulfilled may give rise to a claim for fraud only under particular circumstances. That's a bar. So if you're holding an instrument, the instrument evidences a loan to which you received. Okay, you received the loan. The evidence that you received the loan is that you're holding a copy of the note, but you did not receive the funds from the loan. So I have to make that clear, because sometimes I say you didn't receive a loan. I'm saying that generally for people, you didn't receive the funds. You received the loan documents. So you did receive a loan, but you did not receive the funds from that promise. Bam, it's unliquidated. Okay, for example, in California law, a false promise is only fraudulent if the promiser intended both not to perform on the promise, and that the promisee would rely on that promise, and the promisee must have reasonably relied on the promise and been harmed as a result of that reasonable reliance. Now, if you understand, this is why I made a video talking about affirmative defenses, because fraud can be an affirmative defense. It doesn't, you don't always have to try to sue people and assert fraud. You can show that the person, you can show with new exhibits, if you follow the rules of court to get your audit and your exhibits in the court, you can show that. So you may want to do a counter or a cross to do that, or raise it as an affirmative defense. When the promise was made as a part of the contract, most states forbid a plaintiff from recovering under both contract law and tort law. Lastly, opinions are not usually actionable as fraud, except as under specific circumstances defined by either the common law or statutes in each state. In California, for example, a jury may be instructed that an opinion can be considered a representation of fact if it is proven that the speaker claimed to have special knowledge of the subject matter. See, when you're in court, people think subject matter jurisdiction, like people think that original jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction are the same. They're not. I've heard many attorneys say this. They're wrong. The court does not have subject matter jurisdiction. The court may have jurisdiction over certain subject matters. That means that a court can hear. Okay, having a hearing and being able to decide and make case law is two different things. So that means that if you're initially in a court and they do not have the ability to make case law, then you are not in a court of record. I hope y'all have heard what I just said. Okay, and you're in these lower courts, they cannot make case law. When you get your case dismissed, it doesn't go up on a site where they're like, blank versus blank. That's a record. When you go into the Court of Appeals and you do an appellate case, your case is on record being in the appeals case. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not getting into that right now, but I wanted y'all to understand that when you're bringing up these mortgage audits and stuff, the people who are either selling you this stuff should tell you that you got to structure this for court. You can't just bring up a mortgage audit and then think you're just going to be like, wow, you got to know the rules of court of getting evidence and introducing evidence and bringing the affirmative defenses and bringing defenses to evidence and challenges to competency and competent testimony. These are the things that you have to learn. You can't just do a mortgage audit. There's many people, I've done consultation with a lot of people. A lot of people pay for mortgage audits, and the people are not telling you how to use them. So then you get to me and I'm like, why did you do that? Because there's so much stuff you're going to have to deal with a mortgage audit when you didn't need it. You could just use the stuff that they have right in front of you. But with that being said, I wish everybody has a great holiday season. I hope old Santa Claus, gives you some of them, some eggnog and some of those cookies and stuff. And your little kids run out there and have a great day. So with that being said, I didn't want to get too far into this. I just want to give y'all a little a holiday cheer and a holiday spirit so y'all get y'all mind right. Start getting these old mortgages reopened and getting y'all money back. And with that being said, deuces.